Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today we're going to talk about the profile 4-6 in human design. And if you haven't already, please feel free to check out my other videos where you can learn more about human design and how you can use it in your life. So let's get started and talk about the profile 4-6. The profiles are made up of 6 different lines, and there's 12 different combinations of the profiles. That means everyone has one of these profiles, and it's based on the date and time of birth. The profiles change throughout the day, so somebody who was born on the same day as you may not necessarily have the same profile as you, because their time of birth is different than yours. The profiles are calculated on every chart, so it's not something you have to figure out for yourself. In human design, the profiles talk about our character and how we operate in the world, and add one more dimension on the information the body graph can give. I've already done videos on how the profile lines act alone, and today we're going to see how they act together. And if you want more information, you can check out the videos that I've already done. The profile numbers always come from the conscious sun and the unconscious sun. The first number will always be the conscious sun, and the second will always be the unconscious sun. So when we talk about the profile, some people may find that they connect more with the first number than they do the second, based on their age, because usually after the age of 40, the unconscious side of the body graph becomes something that we're more aware of. But just because you may be less aware of the design part of your body graph until later in your life doesn't mean that it's not as important. Ultimately, both lines are equally important. So what does it mean to have a 4-6 profile, and how does it affect your character? The 4-6 profile is made up of the opportunist and also the role model. When somebody carries the 4th line in their profile, it means that it's a very fixed energy and they like to be taken for who they are. Social and friendship groups are very important to somebody who carries the 4th line because it's where all their opportunities come from. And when it's combined with the line 6, you have a conscious opportunist who also has an experimental phase of their life. Because in the first 28 years of life, the line 6 always acts like a 3rd line, which is an experimental energy. But since the experimenting is an unconscious part of their profile, they may not actually see this. And the area in life where this experimenting is a focus for somebody with a 4-6 profile is in the area of relationships. The 4-6 profile would be considered an internally focused life cycle that longs for personal growth and evolution of the soul that comes from personal relationships. And as is the case with any 4th line profile, their fixed energy means that they need to be taken for who they are. There can be a lot of experimenting with relationships in the first 28 to 30 years of their life because of the role model having the 3 phases of their life. The first phase of the role model is 0 to 28 years, which is the experimental phase. The second phase is what's considered going on the roof, which means they can hide away and integrate all the information that they learned when they were experimenting for the first 28 to 30 years of their life. And the final stage for the role model is after their age 50 or 51, which is around when they get their Chiron return. And this is when they come out as being a full role model, which means that just being themselves, they encourage other people to be themselves as well. But before a 4-6 profile gets to their role model stage, it can be a difficult journey because there is a lot of experimenting with relationships. And since by nature experiments cannot always be predicted as to the outcome, somebody who carries this profile can have a few stumbles on their journey of life. But every experience gives them more information on what works for them and what doesn't work for them. By nature, somebody who carries a 4-6 profile can be very optimistic. And because of this, they continue to go out in the world and experiment with relationships. When somebody who carries the 4-6 profile gets to the second stage of the role model, it can be difficult because the role model part of their profile wants to go and hide away, where the 4th line, the opportunist and social networker, wants to go out and still have fun. But the other part of their profile doesn't want to go out. So it's a push-pull. And because of this, somebody with a 4-6 profile can sometimes be lonely. But the secret to this profile is to know that all the experimenting that they've done in their relationships will eventually allow them to become role models for healthy, nurturing relationships. Because all the experiments that they have in their life will lead to wisdom in relationships. And through their authenticity and their networking skills, they'll develop a deep connection with people. And eventually they'll be able to foster the ability to be an authentic representation of themselves. So that being themselves in relationships, they can show other people how to be themselves in relationships as well. Since all types can carry the 4-6 profile, how does it feel for each type that carries the 4-6 profile? When a manifestor carries a 4-6 profile, they can go out and make their own opportunities, as well as their social networks. And for the first 28 to 30 years of their life, they experiment with what works and what doesn't work with their friendship network. And in the second phase of their life, they can figure out what worked and what didn't work, so that when they come off the roof, their social network of friends is all ready to go, and all they need to do is inform people exactly what they're going to be doing. And when everybody's on the same page, they can all work together. And by being themselves, a manifestor will inspire other people to be themselves as well. When a projector carries the 4-6 energy, they're a conscious opportunist or a conscious networker. But because they need to be acknowledged or invited into networks, when a projector is trying to make their own network and not waiting for any recognition or an invitation, they can be seen as being pushy and not be received in the way they want to be received. This can be especially true in the first 28 years of their life because it's an experimental phase. And if the first 28 to 30 years of their life have been difficult because they're trying to make opportunities instead of being invited into them, there can be a bitterness when they go on the roof. But the trick for a projector who carries the 4-6 profile is to know that the opportunities will come to them if they're patient and wait for the right timing. And if they do, they can become the role models that they're meant to be, where they can be leaders and guide and direct and be representations of their authentic selves. And in doing so will inspire others to be the same. When a generator carries a 4-6 profile, just like all other types, they're conscious networkers. And since generators can sometimes feel that they're manifestors, they need to wait for opportunities to show up in their environment instead of trying to make their own opportunities. So after their experimental phase of their life, they can understand what works and what doesn't work for them in relationship, so that when they come off the roof and into their role model phase, they can see the right opportunities and respond to them when they feel like they want to. A reflector carries the energy of this profile. They too will experiment for the first 28 to 30 years of their life and figure out the relationships that work for them. Through their social networking, they will build a community where their opportunities will come from. And through their moon cycle, they'll be able to understand if the opportunities are correct for them. And after they reach their role model phase, they can be a reflection of the community and the environment and express the theme of authenticity and the importance of being ourselves. This is the last of the right angle profiles. And next we're going to start talking about the left angle profiles. And although a profile isn't the whole story of a body graph, it will certainly give more direction in who you are as an individual. I hope this series has been helpful, and I'll see you soon.